Hello, besties. Welcome to Martinez with Eddie, your ultimate destination for everything Bravo. Join me as we spill the tea, dissect the drama, and uncork the juiciest gossip from your favorite reality TV shows. And tonight is like a special edition. I usually wait until the next day to sleep on my thoughts and put everything together, but I can't do this tonight. The episode is way too good, and the opinions that I have are strong. And I can do this alone. Like I said before, when it comes to reunions, I like to feel like I'm recapping everything with a good friend, and that's why I decided to invite one of the most knowledgeable person when it comes to housewives. That's why she is called the Housewife Historian. Let's welcome to the stage, Lenzi. How are ya?
Hey, how are you? Great to see you. Thank you for having me on tonight. I'm
Oh,
excited.
I'm so excited because we are in such a dramatic hurricane of crazy with New Jersey.
I know. It's insane. There's so much to talk about. I mean, it's endless. So much to talk about. Where do you want to start?
I just want to start by saying thank you for coming on such a last minute because
No.
we've been planning to record together for a long time, but I felt like this needed to be done today. I wanted to get it done also because I'm going to the Vanderpump party tomorrow, so I'm gonna deal with that. And then this Friday, I am getting my wisdom tooth removed.
Oh,
So
yes.
I'm gonna be able to record, and this is such an important week. We had so many reunions happen at the same time, but New Jersey is very important to me. And I also want to say I applaud your dedication because you are sitting in your car recording this with me. I love you for that. Thank you for the dedication, for the love for Bravo.
Yes, of course. Well, sometimes, like work, I'm like an advocate, so I work on the go a lot. So sometimes I just have to record from my car. It's just how it is. I
That's
roll
right.
with my light and I plug it in and I'm good. I'm good.
Love it. Love it. I want to start by asking you how you felt before we jump in the second part of the reunion. I want to know how you felt about the first part of the reunion before we moved into what we watched tonight.
I was just a little I've been a little disappointed with Bravo's edit. I'm not quite sure like what's transpired, but even the first part seemed just very like one-sided. I feel like Teresa gets so flustered with Melissa because it's just one like fib after another fib after another fib that she can't even like break down and try to explain it to people because it's just so much and she just gets flustered and she can't even speak. And so I feel like Melissa has a little bit of an advantage there because she kind of slides in and Margaret's like joining in and Rachel's joining in and it just seemed a little, I don't know. I didn't really like the edit. That's my opinion.
I agree with you. I do feel like there is a plan between the left side of the couch because they do seem to support each other a lot. And I'm not saying it's not a bad thing, but I do believe that this Melissa versus Teresa situation should be between them two, and nobody else should be chiming in. Or if everybody's gonna be chiming in on one side, I would expect a little more help from Dolores and Jennifer and Danielle because they were present in a lot of the events, but I don't think that they are speaking up for Teresa enough. I do see Jennifer intervening here and there, but with little things like when we saw tonight, which I think is very disgusting. Margaret accusing Louis of belittling Teresa, which is really low. Um, and Jennifer immediately jumped in and said, like, no, that's not true. Stop saying that. That's not true. And I agree. I mean, Margaret has this awful behavior towards people in a relationship. We've seen it with Jennifer, now we see it with Teresa, and even with Jackie and Evan. I mean, allegedly, I'm gonna say allegedly because I don't want to get sued, but I do believe that the rumors came from Margaret.
Yes. Yes. And she does it to Melissa and Joe. She tells Melissa she's J-Lo. She pumps her up and tells her she needs to get a ball player. She's going to, the player in her future. Like, that's a little, I don't know, weird.
I said that last week. I was like, I don't think that it was just a haha moment of Margaret telling Melissa that she can do better. I think that Margaret has some kind of dirt on them. I think she knows how to manipulate people, and it's interesting how tonight, I want to start with that part too. We saw a text message from Jacqueline Loretta to Jackie, and the
Yes.
one who pushed Melissa to actually look for it was Margaret.
Yeah.
I found that really interesting. I want to ask Jacqueline Loretta, why were you texting Jackie in the first place? Why were you talking to Jackie? I don't see the connection.
Yeah, I don't see the connection either. And what surprises me so much is I remember vividly Joe and Melissa when Teresa and Jacqueline made up and they like announced it on Instagram and the internet went wild. Joe and Melissa recorded her podcast that following Saturday, and they were talking about Teresa reuniting with Jacqueline, and they never like said anything like, I just think we would have heard of this text message by now. Melissa's dropped plenty of side receipts as it pertains to the season. Why not that then? That didn't make
That
any sense to me. I don't
that
know
is
if I really
true.
believe that that's from Jacqueline. I'm just being honest.
I saw Jacqueline being very active today on Twitter, especially. So I have a feeling that she's gonna come out with something. She's gonna say something. Um, I think when Dolores said like Melissa, you are going down, it might be a little cheeky comment, but Dolores knows that Jackie Loretta knows a lot about the Gorgas, and she was in cahoot with the Gorgas at times to look dirt against Teresa. So I have a feeling that she is going to be like, you know what, you're gonna talk about me on this show. Let's bring the past right now. Let's make it happen. Let's
Yes,
do it.
I hope she does. I wish that Teresa would have brought receipts to show the correlation between Monica, because I've really tried to like, it's such a tangled web in New Jersey and it's hard to explain to people like the tangled web and connections between everyone. But Monica was, Juicy Joe's ex-business partner's attorney. And so
Yes.
we saw her in episode or season 2 and episode season 3. And she had correlations with the Gorgas all the way back to 2005, allegedly. And there's paperwork. She was an attorney. They bought like 10 houses in New Jersey
Mm-hmm.
to flip, and Richie Wakili was allegedly part of the deal. Joe Gorga, and her name was on some of the documents, allegedly. So I'm waiting for her to speak out.
Yeah, I saw some of those documents. I posted on my Twitter because I want people to understand one thing. It's like, just because one person said no, it's not true. That's not the final word. That's them covering their asses up. That's what they're
Mm-hmm.
trying to do. And most people will not take the time to search for the truth. So they take these people's words as like, okay, that's a fact. They don't
Mm-hmm.
have any relationship with these people. And yeah, but if you look into it, you realize there's a lot of, you know, points where they do meet. There's moments where we saw this woman, Joe Judas's ex partner at Melissa Gorga's house
Yeah.
for holidays and stuff like that, for parties and stuff. So you cannot tell me that you don't know this person at all when she's hanging out at your house.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And allegedly, she came with who was it? Kim G, not Kim D,
Yes.
Kim G. And every time the woman was very proud to announce and introduce herself as, "Hi, I'm Monica and I'm suing Joe and Teresa Judice." That's how she introduced herself in season 2 and in season 3. Like, she was proud of it. And so Melissa had to have been aware of who she was, because she introduced herself to Melissa and Kathy at the Posh Fashion Show in season 3. I think it was
Mhm.
Melissa's first season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So there is a relationship between these people. I mean, even though Melissa's trying to deny any communication with them, I mean, you can't deny the fact that we saw it on the show. And then, like you said, there is allegedly, I want to keep saying allegedly because I don't want to get sued or have a cease and desist. Which, by the way, didn't you have your account some like hacked or something because
Oh, yeah.
their
Yes.
camp went after you?
Yes, they came after me really, really hard. I had posted a video. It was like pertaining to envy, and Melissa's cousin reached out to me with a cease and desist and a letter, and I immediately took the video down, and I like responded really professionally. We had a good experience, and then the next day, their camp was like doxing me, and this went on for like 2.5 weeks, and it was very much a nightmare. And then 3 weeks ago, my Instagram was hacked from a device in New Jersey. And then like 2 days later, these Turkish hackers were like calling my new account, trying to sell it back to me for like $1,000. It was all very, very, very strange. Yeah.
Whoo!
It's been so messy. So messy.
And honestly, that's the part that I hate about how housewives are going over this lately, because it's not the first time that we know of housewives that try to stop Bravo content creators to do our due diligences. I mean, it's not our fault that you outline on a TV show, and we are gonna look for the dirt.
I know.
Because I mean, it's not like the thing is like we're not trying to expose people's past. We don't care about that part. But if you're going to say something on TV, I want to know if what you're saying is true or not. And if I find out that it's false, I want people to know that you are lying.
I agree with you. I mean, like I'm a big advocate for mental health. So when I was 19, my mom actually committed suicide. So I had like
I'm sorry.
PTSD and anxiety and depression, and I ended up falling into like a bad group of people, and I went to prison for 3 years. This was 10 years ago, and I since came out, and I work through the state, and I help like reintegrate women who are in recovery from mental health or substance abuse back into society. And so they took that and slandered me and tried to humiliate me with that information, and meanwhile posting my address to my home where I live with my child. So like it was a very like sketchy situation. Yeah.
I mean, I I'm telling
Nothing
you,
to say. No comment.
I have no comment, but I have a lot. I mean, if I wish I could say what I'm thinking, but I feel like if I say what I'm thinking, I'm not only gonna get canceled, but I'm also gonna be attacked by everybody that is
Yeah,
on
don't do
Melissa's
that.
camp. You
Yeah.
know, I'm not
Yeah.
trying to uh
Yes.
to get her people chasing me off
No.
Jersey. So,
No, no,
but I
not at
am going
all.
to say one thing. Uh, I do want to say one thing. I think it's disgusting when they use something you have been working so hard to uh to move forward. You know,
Yeah.
to uh I hate that when they take something that you work hard to overcome, and they still
Mhm.
use it as like a crutch for them to attack you.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, not for nothing, we saw that same tactic on the show last week against Teresa, when
Yes.
Teresa said, "Hey, I've been on this show for 10 plus years. I went away or whatever." And she said, "Oh, you want me to be proud of you because you went to prison or whatever?" I'm like,
Hmm.
yeah, she went and she did her time. She moved on. She built a life. So let's move on too.
Yeah.
Because yes, she went to prison on this show, but she also came out of it and built a life and is doing better. Something that maybe Joe Gorga should be doing, because last time I checked, he's banned from going into Home Depot because he didn't pay for materials.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Allegedly.
I
Yeah.
mean,
I mean, look at Teresa. She cried whenever they were going to write her story when they were at her like bachelorette party, because prison is traumatic. Okay, it's not it's traumatic, and she literally like had to cry and ask them not to bring up jail or prison because they use it as a way to jab at her all of the time, and it's insane. And I found out that allegedly like both of Jackie Goldschneider's parents had went away too, and I was shocked to hear that because she was so hard on Teresa and Joe about, and then you have Margaret. She makes comments to Jennifer and calls her a raging drug addict, basically. I mean, that's insane.
Simply
Jennifer has
smoking pot in her free time.
terrible. Jennifer has kids in the school system. Like, I feel like that's really, really, really terrible of her. And she did it to Laura Lee's husband. He's like 7 years in recovery. He posted about it on Twitter, and she, kind of made remarks about his recovery as well. So I don't know.
Yeah, Laura shared some of that story when she came on my pod
Mm,
a couple of months ago, which it goes back to tonight's show. I was laughing when Jennifer said I wanted to somehow make Melissa aware of the gossip. And yeah, I mean, Danielle told her on camera, but nobody else did. And Danielle had a good intention. She wanted to tell Melissa so she can say, like, no, that's not true. Let's move on. No, the
mm-hmm.
thing was, they blamed them for using it for camera, but the person who made a big deal and a big dramatic scene was Melissa. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
if you're paying attention, you know this. Danielle called her to the side, sat her down, and said, "Hey, this is what people are talking about. What Marge said." And the one who exploded and made a big scene was Melissa. But I mean, let's blame Teresa and Jennifer for that reason too. But
Yeah.
also, Jennifer said, like, I wanted to tell you because Laura was on TikTok and different platforms telling people her side of the story. And Margaret said, like, no, no, that's not true. And I was like, she was on my podcast. She was out telling people her side of the story. You can't lie to people. When I personally interview her,
Yeah.
when back in February when this whole thing started.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Seriously. That's hilarious. Sometimes I think they don't realize because that's how I felt with Melissa. Like, I felt like other people were running a lot of the show for her, and they sort of reported back to her what they wanted to, as far as like the moves that they made towards people, because she did seem like because I'm like, there's timestamps, Melissa. Like, I didn't post any of this until after, you've had this posted about me. So she wasn't like, I don't know. I think a lot of other people control like their media more so than we realize. Do you feel like
I
that?
agree. I agree.
Okay.
I mean, I think I don't just think can say
Okay.
that I seen some media platforms that are somehow big on Melissa and Margaret's pockets. I'm talking about page 6. I don't care. You can come and sue me. Don't care. But I seen it. Pretty much every person who writes for page 6 is on Melissa and Margaret good side. I seen it. I see the
Yeah.
likes. I see all the stuff, and that's okay. You like them. That's perfect. But don't tell me to take your word as a fact when you are being one-sided. When all you do is literally go on their page and comment hearts and likes and stuff like that, and people are gonna take what you say about other people that are not friends with Melissa and Margaret as like, okay, because page 6 is a big news worth platform. Oh, it must be true.
Yes.
But I mean, how many times they have been caught being biased? And it goes back to that. It goes back how the way that they manipulate the media. How Margaret and Melissa have had access to bigger bloggers, to bigger media, that they have played the good people card. Like, it seems to me that a lot of people say that, oh, Melissa and Margaret are such a nice people. Yeah, but they are doing it to get people in their pocket.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. 100%. 100%, because it's like a tangled web, you know, like her family are, they're kind of, I mean, I wouldn't want the sisters after me, you know, like I've seen DMs between like, you know, people on Twitter, and the things that they say, like, and we have to remember these people have been coming after Teresa for a decade. So if they come after, like, if they expose everything that they can find, they don't even know me, you know what I mean? They do that to me. Like, imagine, I could believe that they helped put Teresa and Joe in prison. Like, I could believe that after my experience.
Yeah, and it's I mean, it's interesting that Melissa was quite quick to deny that, but like I said before, we have footage, we have seen it on the show. There's legal paperwork allegedly being signed with that person's name on it. So it is what it is. It's just not. I don't know. I don't take their word as an honest to me. I mean, let's talk about another moment that I laugh at on today's episode. Let's leave Teresa and Melissa for 1 second, like on the
Yes.
back. Let's talk about Rachel Fuda and the fact that she seems not to like when Jennifer called her by her account name Bravo Lover 1234. She
Loved
didn't
it.
deny it. I mean, Rachel was quick to try to deflect from that to a nose job, and I was like, that is so weird. If I was in Rachel Fuda's place, I'll be like, if it was not true, which is sad to say, it is true because there are photos of her when she was Bravo Lover 1234 out there. Um, she couldn't even say anything about it because she know that she was. So it's interesting to me to see somebody who allegedly didn't watch the show have an account called Bravo Lover 1234.
And like, let's remember that her and Brittany, like Frank's girlfriend, they were besties, and they like had Frank training them to do like the competitions just like Teresa used to do.
Yes.
So like, I don't know, did they like seek him out or something? Like, I mean, where they live, it's like a small area. I think there's only like 5 gyms, you know, it's a really wealthy um little tiny area right there. I don't know. I mean, Frank and Dolores own gyms. So
Yeah, they do.
did they
I mean,
like
for what I heard, what I heard was that Rachel Fuda's way to get into the show was, I mean, obviously, I'm not trying to say that the Gorgas made the last decision in the last calls in casting, but long-standing cast on any franchise are going to have some kind of priority or like, or privilege when it comes to introducing possible housewife to casting and production. They do
Mhm.
have that. So allegedly, the way that Rachel made her way into New Jersey, obviously she wanted to be on the show. Uh, she gave free tiles to the Gorgas for the construction of their home. And that was kind of touched on last week's episode when Andy asked Fuda, like, did you guys do her tiles for the new house? He's like, she was quick to say, yes, we did. And I noticed Melissa being like, maybe you should have mentioned that part.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's allegedly was the word on the street. I have like an old picture of Joe and John Fuda from maybe like 2012 or 13. So I think they might have like known each other, but I maybe like when he got with Rachel and they got married, and then now their kids are like friends, they like reconnected, and
Yeah.
I'm sure that the Gorgas wanted the tile, like they were happy to take the tile.
And a freebie is a freebie.
Dude.
How do you feel about Andy's behavior towards Jennifer when when Rachel asked him like, "Hey, can you tell her to stop?" And he said like, "She will run out of gas in a second." How do you feel about that?
Disrespectful, so disrespectful. I think one, the fact that they're not talking about anything that happened at the Gansevoort, because I was at BravoCon Eve the night before, so I was actually at Joe Gorga's stand up at Caroline's, and we all went to the Gansevoort to the rooftop hotel to have drinks. It was all the housewives, and
On Friday night,
yes, yes, Friday
on Friday
night.
night,
Friday night, I
the
was in the
party.
bathroom with Whitney.
No way. The
I
same
swear to
party that
God.
Jane Shack crashed.
She crashed the next night. She crashed like Andy Shaw's ball night or
Oh,
whatever. I
okay.
was
I
there.
was at the Legends Ball.
Okay, no, I was
I
there
like
at
I
BravoCon
went to
Eve.
that. So you went to Thursday night.
Yes, sorry, yes, Thursday,
Yeah, because
yes.
Friday night was the Legends Ball. I was gonna say, oh my god, we're the same place and we didn't talk to each other. No, I went to the next day party, the one at the after party for the Legends Ball for all the Bravo Labs. So that was really fun.
I bet you get
I saw
invited to all.
Teresa, Louis, and Jen and Bill. They were hanging out in the same area that I was hanging out too. And I said hi to them very briefly. And I mentioned that to Jen over. We had like a Twitter exchange recently, and I
Aw.
mentioned that to her. Oh, and then I mentioned it to her on Instagram. She was live on Instagram Live, and she always she always say, invite me to be on her live too. So
Aw.
I told her like last time that I saw you was at BravoCon, and we were at the Gansevoort Hotel for the after party, and I said hello to you, and I just kept moving because I hate to like impose, and
I
also like that party was for them to like relax. It wasn't like it wasn't part of the convention center. It was like for
right.
Bravo Labs to drink and hang out. I was
I
hanging out with the Ariana from Vanderpump Rules. We were sitting there talking for a long time, and she said to me, "Why you didn't say anything to me? We would have like talked for a long time." Like, yeah, maybe, I said, maybe now in Vegas it's different. In Vegas we can sit down and talk all you want.
But you do. I felt the same way at the Gansevoort because it's like they're like being chill, like that's their like
Yeah,
safe space. You know what I mean? So I felt a little nervous, but I still got pictures with like Whitney, and Contessa from Married to Medicine. Her husband was there. He was super nice, and it was fun for sure. Yeah, but
yeah.
I
I
definitely. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I was just saying I think it's an injustice to Jennifer to not acknowledge. I think that Joe should just apologize. Like you don't even have to conversate on it. Just apologize to the female species as a whole for, the way that he spoke and like move past it, but like acknowledge it and make him apologize.
Yeah, I wanna hear Jennifer's side of the story as like her experience because I do know that, and they mentioned it very briefly on a Watch What Happened Live, but I don't think it's enough. This was the opportunity for them to face talk about it. And I think it's really disrespectful towards Jennifer to ignore it because it was a huge news. It was everywhere.
I know.
And the Gorga were trying to pin it on Jennifer at the
Mm-hmm.
beginning. They were the
Mm-hmm.
one who got the first little clip out saying like, "Oh, she did this to us," and they weren't counting with her assistant recording the full entire exchange, exposing the lies. So this
Yes.
was the opportunity for Andy to be like, "Hey, you guys did this to Jennifer. What you have to say?" And the fact that Jennifer has she didn't have the chance. I know for a
Mm-mm.
fact people were saying because I posted on my Twitter a couple of days ago saying like like I really wanted to hear a true conversation about how disgusting the Gorgas, especially Joe Gorga, was towards Jennifer at BravoCon because it was a huge deal. And people were like, "Oh, we should wait until the third part." And no, 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 it's not spoken at all, and I know for a fact.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, it's they don't like I saw the Gorgas moving in their entourage the night before. So I know how they move. They are a big group of people. You know what I mean? It is Joe Gorga and like four other dudes and Melissa. You know what I mean? Like I would be nervous being a female by myself, being confrontational with them in that hotel by yourself with just like the person behind the desk. Like that would make anyone, I think, a little nervous. It's late. Everyone's been drinking. Like it would be a nervous situation, I think, for anyone. And also, if you notice, Melissa did like the bye bye to Jennifer that night, and she also did it at the reunion to Teresa. Did
Mm-hmm.
you catch
I
that?
saw that. I clocked
And she
that
called them
too.
losers, losers at the
Yes,
finale, and
the
losers
same
at the day of
thing.
divorce. Yep, same
Uh,
same rhetoric.
yeah. You know what's really funny? Like even on this episode, I mean, people keep saying that Teresa can defend herself, and Melissa gets. I mean, Teresa gets really overwhelmed. We
Of
know that she
course.
tries to express her feelings and never come out the way that she wants to. But we know what she's trying to say because
Yeah.
she's clear. But it's like everybody talks on like they know what to do. They just start talking on top of what she's saying, so she gets like frustrated. So she never finished her feelings.
Yeah.
She never explained how she feels like properly. But tonight, I was very surprised that the one that let something slip out was Melissa. When they were talking about hiring a private investigator and looking for dirt, and people said, yeah, and Teresa called Margaret out and like, you do that all the time. You did it to me. You did it to Jennifer. You started the rumor with
Uh-huh.
Jackie and Evan allegedly. But and Melissa let us look. It's like no, Margaret doesn't hire private investigator. That just falls on her lap. She exposed her because I mean I think that this fall on her lap is just her talking to bloggers or the people who are in the same camp as the housewife that she doesn't like. We know she contacted Louis' ex that
Absolutely.
now allegedly she plays a restraining order against Louis. But it's interesting to me because allegedly she was the one who was talking Teresa and her daughters for a very long time on social media. Allegedly, she's also has a restraining order placed by her ex-husband because
I
she
saw that.
was stalking him and his family and his friends. So it's interesting to me that this news came out today on page 6 out of all the places on the reunion day.
Listen, I was like one of the first ones to expose Vanessa and Margaret because Vanessa did a video and she was like, I want to thank Margaret Josephs for this necklace of this elephant. It means courage or something like really crazy. But it showed like that she was, she bought Margaret's necklace. Like, obviously, there was some kind of connection there. You know what I'm saying? Like, out of
Yes.
all the housewives, why would Louis' ex do a video on like she was talking about mental health, but she like alluded when and talked about her necklace coming from Margaret? So it was like proved early on that they were corresponding.
Yes. And it's the same thing that happened with like bloggers that we know. I'm pretty sure you know, especially one person, very annoying with her purple hair. That we know that she is nonstop attacking anyone on and everyone on Teresa's camp and Louis and any content creator that supports Teresa or see Teresa as like somebody that they like is somehow
Mm-hmm.
paid by Louis. I'm like, bitch, I wish I was paid. I wish I was because I'm not gonna say no to a check
Right.
because I need to pay my bills.
Listen,
That
say.
pay my BravoCon tickets and I will post whatever you want.
Exactly. I'm saying the same exact thing. I'm like, I wish, like, I'm like frustrated that I had to spend so much time when I got doxxed, like posting and commenting and this and that. And I'm like, I don't get paid to do this. Like, this is so much work. And people accuse me of being Trey Fab 2022 because she started getting harassed the same time I did. And so she like really took a stand for us. Like, and she still continues with her advocacy on the anti Melissa. She does, whatever. That's her prerogative. But she lives in another country. And And that lady is always trying to say that her and I are the same person. She's always, and I have her blocked. I've had the purple hair girl blocked since before Pizzagate, like not in my vision at all. And like people DM me stuff and she's trying to tag me and talking shit about my mom. I'm like, what is this lady's problem? Like,
That's why I ignore her. I honestly just, but that's another example of the people that Margaret allegedly uses to, to put out information. How the hell her and some other lady, I don't want to talk about their account because I'm not gonna give them the publicity and the advertising they're looking for. They better
of course.
pay me if they want me to tell their name on my podcast. But that purple haired lady and some other lady from a different Bravo account, they were the one who exposed, quote unquote, the Pizzagate. Interesting enough, the other lady was the one who bought allegedly the oven that Margaret was going to take to the reunion or watch what happened live, and because they couldn't keep the secret, the whole thing fell apart. So all this stuff, it just makes no sense in my head, and I'm happy that to see on the show tonight that Melissa allude to Margaret being a person who people go to with dirt about the other ladies, and obviously she's gonna use the dirt. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's insanity to me how this person Margaret. I'm not a fan. People know this. I'm not a fan because one thing that I do not like is when people try to act innocent when they are the dirtiest person in the group.
Yeah,
I
I
and I, and
know.
I and I said that like not just on Housewives, I said it in life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm I you see me the way that I talk, the way that I act, I cuss people out. If you don't like it, you can move on. If you don't like the way that I talk, don't be my friend. But I'm not
Right.
gonna act like, oh my gosh, let me be all like this. And no,
Right.
I don't look for this. And when you actively trying to hurt somebody else for the sake of a show, the same reason why I was never a Lisa Rinna fan. Since the moment that she
Mm-hmm.
got on Beverly Hills, I knew her tactic. I knew what she was doing. I knew people who were in the same circles, and I got some info about how a lot of stuff that were done on the show were
Yeah.
blamed on somebody else, but in reality, it was this other woman doing the job. Same way the Margaret does on Jersey, and that's why I do not like that woman.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, I mean, I wanted to know who the leak was in Jennifer's camp, right? Because allegedly Margaret told us she knew about Laura Lee because Jennifer had a leak in her camp. So who is
Yeah.
the leak? Remember, and Margaret had that assistant that moved away, and she had been here for like 7 years, and she sent her back to like Canada. And then there was that screenshot of a thread between Lexi, Melissa, and Margaret. I just wonder what happened. There's so many loose ends. Like I
Yes.
don't know. I don't know.
I'm gonna write that down and I'm gonna try
Yes.
to find it and then we're gonna talk about
Yes,
it.
yes, please find out because I want to know like what's up, like there's something there because whenever the thread was posted for like 2 seconds, but somebody called into Andy live on Cyrus Radio and brought up the thread and the producer in the room knew about it. And so that was like made me go, what, something's off here.
I don't know. There is very interesting. I was watching the episode tonight, and we got to that point where also allegedly Louis called Margaret's stepson at work and whatever. I mean I'm not gonna say that I know anything about this. I have no idea, so I'm gonna go with my opinion on this topic in particular. Um, I think it's very interesting how the only person that knew where, you know, Margaret's stepson works or any access to it is Margaret herself, allegedly, because he's supposed to be like a very hard to reach environment, but somehow somebody reached to her stepson at work. Um, I think it's the way that it was set up, the time of everything. Um, I still believe that Louis did not hire the personal the investigator on them, but
Mm-hmm.
they found a way to frame him because I do think that Louis has a problem. Louis say stuff out of anger that it
Mm-hmm.
just be like, hey, I'm just saying it just for saying it, and
Mm-hmm.
then these women have quick mind, be like, okay, he said that, so let's use that to frame him. And I wouldn't put this past Margaret to create the narrative for Louis to be blamed. And then she said, oh, I called Dolores and I told her that Teresa knew, and Teresa did not know. And also, I mean, crying on the over the phone. I can do that too. I'm like, I'm gonna pretend that I'm so hurt and whatever. I'm like, there is a lot of stuff on tonight's episode that even though uh Melissa Gorga said, "Oh, we have a new bitch boy. We need to talk to Louis directly." I'm like, no, 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 no. I'm like,
I
no.
know.
There will never be another bigger bitch boy than her husband because if you gave Joe Gorga a wig, he'll be happy to be a housewife. He has been wanting to be on that intro since day one. He wanna be a meatball holder in the intro, like nee 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 nee. He wanna be in the middle. He is literally more invested on housewives than Melissa herself. So yes, Joe Gorga is the big bitch boy, but since Melissa wants to take that name and give it to somebody else, she called Louis the bigger bitch boy or like the master bitch boy or whatever. I do want to know his side of this whole entire thing because I'm not defending Louis particularly because I don't know the man personally, but based on what we see, I mean, I had seen Gorga do way worse, and I see more people defending him than Louis, who we only know him on the show for a year ish.
Mm-hmm. Yes. 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 I saw the same thing. I said, first of all, like, I feel like Joe Gorga, and Teresa said this, he pushed Louis into the show. And
Yes.
anyone, they had cameras on him during a very stressful time. That's a lot of stress on someone who is like one day an average person, and all of a sudden they're filming a national television show while having a family feud with their new family and a wedding special. The wedding special, they were going to do it, then they weren't going to do it. Dina was going to be a bridesmaid, then she wasn't going to be a bridesmaid. I mean, it was just a lot of stress, I think, and anyone is not going to look great when they're dealing with, I mean, that's a lot of stress. That's a lot of stress.
Yeah, and I'm still confused at why Melissa is so upset with Teresa about this whole conversation between Louis and Joe about Margaret's rumor, because that's where everything started. Like let's call it what it is. Margaret allegedly started the rumor, told Laura, and Laura told everybody else. So that's where the root of the problem is. So Melissa being mad at Teresa because Louis decided to call Joe to the side with no cameras, with, let me say this clear, with no cameras.
Yep.
So there was no ploy, there was no like trying to get like screen time or whatever. He called Joe to the side, be like, hey, this is what people are saying about your wife. He should have gone home and be like, hey, this is what people are saying. Teresa and Louis told me, let's stop it. You know, let's there. I mean, if they wanted to be really evil, they could have easily had said it on the show themselves,
Mm-hmm.
plan this meeting on the show, because before this, allegedly they were fine.
Right.
So if they were trying to be producing a show, they could have called Joe Gorga while they were filming, and they did
Of
not do
course.
that. So
Absolutely. 100%.
Melissa knew about this rumor way before, right? Jennifer, we found out tonight that Jennifer told her about the rumor before that too. So she was well aware. So the fact that she had this huge blowout at the finale, I still believe that she used that moment to excuse herself from not going to the wedding because she was still mad at the fact that she was not a bridesmaid, that she was not going to get the camera time that she wanted at Teresa's wedding. Let's call a spade for what it is.
Paycheck, a paycheck, a paycheck.
Paycheck. That's
Her and
right.
Joe
That's
both would
what
have got
Margaret went
paid.
to too.
Yeah, absolutely. They were all going to be eating off the back of Teresa and Louis.
That's right. I
And
mean,
sorry.
no, I mean, like there is the fact that people who are watching the show still, I see a big population not understanding that for Teresa and Louis trying to ploy against the Gorgas with this rumor, the bright thing to do was calling them to the house while they were filming. If there was no cameras around, nobody would have known. Nobody.
I have a feeling that the reason it's a bigger deal is because it wasn't rainbows and butterflies when Joe Gorga got home and told his wife the rumor that he heard. Because the year previous, they were like discussing how, if you remember, their relationship was stressed because Melissa was going out and doing a lot of press with Margaret, yada, yada, yada. And I just feel like it wasn't as easy as Joe Gorga just went home and didn't believe anything that was said because he loves Melissa so much. I don't believe that. And then she on the bus, oh, like I'm just drunk. Haha, I'm gonna drunk text my ex. I don't think that Joe Gorga was like cool with that. I don't. I think
I
behind the scenes, it was probably bad. That would be my
I
guess.
agree. And like on tonight's episode, I laughed so hard when Melissa tries to compare a celebrity crush that Teresa had on Channing Tatum, which by the way I was laughing when she said Channing something else, Tatum or something. I don't know.
Yes,
She
yes,
said a
yes.
whole different name, but it's laughable how Melissa tried to say, "Hey, so you're saying this now that you're married, that you like Channing Tatum?" And I'm like, you can't compare having a celebrity crush that every single person on the planet, married or not, have. We all have a celebrity crush. Nobody. I'm married and I have like 100. So please.
Right,
So you
right.
can't compare that comment with saying I'm gonna drunk text my ex.
I
Because the only reason you drunk text an ex is because you want to fuck.
know.
There's no other reason. When I was single and I got drunk many times, my drunk ass would drunk text exes because I was like, you know what? Let's just go. Who cares? One more mistake. Who cares? But you're married. Why do you have? I mean,
For
what
20 years.
why is that the train of thought when you're drunk? That's what I want to know. Why was that the first thing that came to your mind when you're drunk? So I agree with Teresa. Why do you say that when you are married and for such a long time?
Yeah, I mean, I would have to call 5 people to get my ex's phone number of 20 years. If I had to go find my ex from 20 years ago, are you serious? I would literally have to like get on Messenger and like find someone I went to school with. I mean, it would be a process. Like, you just have his phone number in your phone after 20 years. That's suspicious as.
Oh yeah. I whew, I was like when she said when I watched the episode the first time I was like, wait a minute, wait, what? And and I'm gonna be like super honest and open. I'm a gay man, so for us to text exes and stuff, it's like easier. And even
Right.
for me, I was like, what did you say? You want to text your ex? And Margaret um and Melissa making it like, oh, this is just a moment, it's a joke, it's hysterical because if Teresa or any other girl that they don't like said something like that, you will be hearing this on every single episode.
Mhm. Mhm. I agree with you 100%. And you know what is so funny is that Melissa wouldn't have known, she wouldn't know if it was going to make the edit or not until she saw the episode. And then she would have had to have went to Joe and told him that she
Yeah.
said that. Because so I feel like they have had a lot of tension as of like in the last 6 months too with all, I mean, that's a big deal. That's
Yeah,
a big deal.
I agree.
Yes.
Um, I want your opinion also on this. They were talking about Laura, and Andy asked Margaret why the relationship ended, and she says that she realized her friendship with her was about the show. But last time I checked, Laura Lee and Margaret were friends since kids. So how
Yeah.
that add up?
I actually met Laura Lee personally in New York and I loved her. She was lovely. We actually went out after like a Q&A and hung out and she was like open to answering everything, any questions I had, and she was very lovely. So I believe her version of that, like Margaret didn't want like people to know about her, so she was kind of like when they would take pictures, she wouldn't want her to be like in with the housewives or like tagged with them, and it kind of started that way and just escalated, I think. So I like her.
I like her too. Like I mentioned before, I interview her here on my podcast, and since
Yes.
then we kind of talk, like we DM and whatever, and
Yeah.
we go to similar places in Jersey. I told her that I saw some picture that she posted and at a restaurant that I love in Jersey City, and she said to me like, next time that you're around, uh, let's go. And she said like, I live upstate in New York, so she mentioned that she has a house in like, in kind of in the area or whatever.
Yeah.
So I appreciate how like honest and open, and I mean she honestly did not anything to gain out of any of this, and I feel like Margaret was trying to blacklist her because she was afraid that all her arsenal was gonna be exposed. And I don't know, I feel like
I'm gonna
she was
verify that for
exposed.
you. I believe that because look at what kind of friends she brought on. Jen Fessler. Jen Fessler is team loyal to Margaret, that she like was boring on Watch What Happens Live because every answer she was like, well, I can't, I don't want to say anything bad about Margaret, so I gotta answer it this way. Like her loyalty was so over the top,
Yeah, I agree.
extreme.
Oh no, honestly, a I just want to see where this franchise goes, because as someone who grew up in Bergen County, New
Mm,
Jersey was one of those like Bravo, shows that I was excited about, watching, because I see myself in it. Places that I've been to, going down the shore is a summer activity that we do every summer, so I understand that. Literally, they film big portion of the first season in my town in Richwood. So seeing
wow.
seeing how the show has like changed, and I gotta say there has to be something that needs to be done for the franchise to move forward, and I feel like Bravo is trying to stick to bringing everybody on season 14. And
Hmm.
honestly, if it was up to me, people are gonna say I'm biased. Yes, I am. This is my podcast. It's my opinion. So yes, it's biased. If it was up to me, I would let go of the Gorgas, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because a good housewife has storylines on her own, like her life. She opened her house to everybody. She opened her life to everybody, and also have a group dynamic. I feel like I have Melissa Gorga on my TV screen since season 3. That means 10 years, and I have no clue who she truly is, because every storyline, even though she hates that word, has been fake. fake sister, like searching for a fake sister, fake in pregnancy, fake music career, fake flipping houses, because we know that Joe Gorga was caught using fake pictures on his Instagram for his
Yes,
business.
yes, yes.
Fake Chanel bags at on Envy. I mean, it's not like I'm making this stuff up. I'm not just hating for the
No.
sake of hating. I'm literally naming what we all know, and it has been exposed all these years. And
Yes,
even Carlos King said it himself. Melissa got on this show because she wanted to go after Teresa. So
absolutely.
she's been riding her coattail, and I mean, I'm not interested. I'm not interested to see anything. I would rather see Teresa on the show, because even though we know her the most because she has been open about it, I want to see what's coming for her in the future,
Yes,
because she's not
absolutely.
afraid to show it.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. I think that Bravo is like trying to have their cake and eat it too, because they don't want to, like, I feel like fans are so extreme. They're like either Gorga or Teresa, that Bravo's like trying to like make the Gorga's image a little bit better, clean it up a little bit, because they don't want to lose all of those fans. That's kind of the feeling that I get. Do you get that feeling? Like,
Yeah, it with Jersey is weird too, because um if it was a different franchise, I do believe that they will try to do something to spice things up, or a
mhm.
big shakeup. Look what happened to New York, you know.
Right.
So Bravo hasn't been shy of like making big decisions when it comes to cast. Um, Lisa Rinna left Beverly Hill on her own, but then she changed her mind the next day, and Bravo said like, "No, we good." Literally, Bravo said, "No, we good,"
That is
because
hilarious.
Andy revealed that on his book. He said, like, you know what? After the reunion, I got a text from Rena saying that, hey, I'm out. This is too much for me. And the next day, I got a different message like, hey, you know what? I'll take that back. And he's like, no, it's fine. We're good. So Bravo is not afraid to make those
Ah,
type of decisions. We've seen it. We've seen housewives that are great being let go for issues that we saw on the show. Portia on Atlanta was demoted because of the big fight at the reunion. We saw Phaedra, who was a staple of Atlanta, being let go because of what happened with Candy. So
mhm.
there are housewives out there that had a lot of heaviness, or like a heavy weight on the show. Like they were a big staple on the show, and they were fan favorites. And Bravo
Yes.
said like, no, we good. Nini, for example, Nini left too. I mean, we know the mess that she's in right now,
Yeah.
but you know, big when who else? I mean, and we can go through every single franchise, but when it comes
Mhm.
to New Jersey, I have a feeling like they are afraid to let go of quote unquote the heavyweights of the show. And
Mhm.
I mean, sometimes you gotta make decisions for a franchise to move forward. And if it was up to me, I would rather keep the housewife that have brought more to the show and put the show on the map.
I mean, mic drop. I agree with you. I mean, obviously, Teresa, I feel like that they get a little bit threatened because, like, Teresa, is she a little bit bigger than the New Jersey franchise themselves? You know what I'm saying? Like, I almost feel like they get nervous sometimes when you are liked so passionately, because it's a driving force.
It
It's a
is a
driving
driving
force
force.
for sure. I agree with you. But talking about Portia Williams, when I watched her in the Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip, the most recent one, I missed her. I missed her. Atlanta's not doing great this year. I miss her. Did they make a mistake letting her go? Like,
I am going to say that I'm scared because I love Atlanta.
me
Atlanta
too.
is a
And I love
really
Kenya.
fun. Yeah, me too. I think Atlanta is a fun franchise. It's one of those franchises where I had never felt like it got dark.
Yeah.
Like Beverly Hills and sometimes Jersey now, especially now. or New York that you were like, oh shit, like I can't watch this because it's too heavy. Atlanta has never been that franchise, and it has always been one of Bravo's crown jewels, you know. So
Yes.
it's really strange to see how the dynamic of this show has changed, and I do think that they need to bring some people from the past to get the show going. I mean, I know a lot of people think that um, it's better to bring new blood into the show, but there needs to be a balance for these shows to thrive. And I don't know how you feel, but I think one of the biggest mistake of Bravo was giving Marlo a peach. I think Marlo should have stayed a friend of, because as a friend of she can have her funny um commentary and
Yes.
confessionals,
Comic
and
relief.
just be in the background because she's doing the most. She's still acting
Mm.
as somebody who really wants that peach and is coming across as desperate. And also, I mean, Sania is cute and everything, but I'm not sold. Um, I love Candy and Kenya. Those
Me
are
too.
to me my favorites of the show.
Yes. Yeah.
Uh, but I feel like they need somebody to move the franchise forward. And
Yes.
it's not necessarily somebody new. I think that they have great housewives in Atlanta. They are a staple of the show, and fans know them, and it will
Hmm.
bring the fan base back to it. Um, we see that Phaedra moved to Mary with to Madison. She's
I
filming,
know.
and I'm excited about that
Me
part.
too.
So I mean, keeping them on our TV is great. Moving them to the original franchise would be the best move they can do.
Yeah. Yes. I agree with you 100%. 100%.
Talking about energy in a show and what they bring, Jennifer Aydin, she to me she's one of my favorite housewives. I don't care what people say. I like her. She's forward. She tells the truth. She doesn't care. And tonight, she was defending herself against Margaret when Margaret was trying to once again bring up her use of marijuana as some kind of negative thing. She called her old lady energy. Your
She
thoughts?
I love Jennifer Aydin. I think she has elevated. She has the potential to be like top tier status because she owned the affair with Bill. She was an open book about it. I mean, that is a lot of other wives would have quit. Like you wouldn't have seen them come back. They would have lied. They would have stopped filming. They wouldn't have filmed they would have been a Mary Crosby. They would have been gone. And she owned it and she took it, and she takes a lot of shit from Margaret because I think when you have children in a school district and you have to deal with other people's parents, and your husband is a plastic surgeon, he has his own office, and you're running around calling her a drug addict over legal marijuana, medical, I mean, medicinal, whatever. Like, I mean, it's just unacceptable. I feel like she's
Yes.
biased. Like she has a bias towards people that are like in recovery for drugs or alcohol because her mom, I think, just drank a lot when she was little and she's biased towards us.
Yes. Also, I think it's disgusting the way that Margaret talks about Jennifer's pot usage, because it's like she's trying to paint her as like this really bad person just for the simple
Yes.
fact that she likes to smoke the magic lettuce. I mean, who? I mean, I'm gonna be open. I had done it. I smoke pot once in a while. I don't smoke every single day because my anxiety. Like some people use it for anxiety. It does the opposite to me. So I do
Sure.
it when I'm with friends, like here and there, maybe twice or three times a year, because hey, it's fun. But like seeing that type of commentary coming from Margaret, I think is so hypocritical because A, she's telling that in front of Andy, who also is openly about his usage of marijuana. He said it himself on the reunion. He's like, I smoke pot, so am I a bad person too? And let's not forget that Margaret herself hosted a pot smoking tasting from Frank Catania's new business at her house. And even though she was not present in the house, she made sure to send a food truck for their munchies. So she was well aware what was happening at her home. So it's just the level of hypocrisy from this lady that really irks me. She said, "Oh, I came on the show using the pat puss." I'm like, yes, but at the same time, you are out here shaming other people for what they do in their homes when they're free, and it's none of your goddamn business.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I feel like she pushes a line. She's completely disrespectful of Jennifer. And I like when Jennifer fights her, like comes right back at her. When they had the fight at Jen Fessler's house, I was cheering Jennifer on because I feel like she needs to expect that Margaret is going to go low ATF and just be ready. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know. Jennifer doesn't deserve that. And the only way it's going to go away is if she just deads it with Margaret.
Yes.
Like, she's going to have to come just as deep next time, in my opinion.
And I mean, it's just I hate when people sit on their high horses. I hate it.
I
Like
know.
the way that she was looking at Jennifer as she talks about this is with disgust.
I know.
And I'm thinking to myself like, wasn't your husband smoking on national TV a couple of weeks ago on an episode? Like, stop this nonsense, because it's you're just doing it because it's another woman who's doing it.
Yeah.
Because Jennifer is happy and open and very honest about what she does. And there has to be something about that that really triggers Margaret.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. I think there's a lot about Jennifer that triggers Margaret. Again, I think that Margaret has a lot of trauma from like her childhood and her mother being such a young mother. And her mother says like she was a partier. It was the 70s. Like she did her thing. And I think that Margaret somehow is very triggered by Jennifer somehow. And
I
that's why
mean,
we see such an outrageous response for no
and
reason.
and like taking not 1 ounce of accountability for what she said last season and how that affected Jennifer kids is really freaking disgusting. When Andy read that question that somebody sent in saying that, don't you feel in some kind of way for for her and her kids, and she said like,
Mm-hmm.
well, I can understand why Jennifer is mad, but I'm not gonna take any responsibility about her children. I'm like, let's think about this. Let's dissect this sentence. She said, "I'm not taking responsibility for her children's." But who was the one who brought that rumor back to life last season? Margaret on national TV. If you guys have been paying attention, this happened 10 years ago when the children were either really really babies or weren't even born.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
actually Jennifer said that she was pregnant at that point when this was happening.
Yes.
So
Mm-hmm.
they fix or work this out behind doors without telling the children. So when the children found out on national TV or because somebody was talking about it on TikTok or whatever, it is Margaret's responsibility because she was the demon who brought it on the show. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't know how that is not computed in her little old lady's brain.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that she likely had to seek out that information, like, she had to have. And if we go back to the beginning of the season, there was an account on Instagram, and I think it was like love, love, love Gabriella. And
Yes.
Margaret was responding with that account because she thought that was Jennifer. And she called that she tried to say that person was the office manager that was sleeping with Bill, and her name was like something kind of exotic because she was, I don't know, it was like an exotic name that I've never like really heard before, but she said that on purpose because she thought that was Jennifer. So she was name dropping the woman that Bill had the affair with to trigger her in a DM message. Did you see that? Like,
I saw that.
yes. Yes. I mean, that's
Ah,
messed up. Like,
it
nobody
is.
knew the woman's name. Like, none of us would have known. Hmm.
I wanna read this because I wanna make sure that we all are clear. Yo-Yo 2023. I did say Eddie said Marge has an old lady brain with a laughing
I
emoji.
love her.
I want to make sure that people know I'm not making fun of her age. I'm saying in the
Oh,
same, connotation as Jennifer Aydin did. Like not somebody who's old, but somebody who actually has like this like old energy,
yes.
like
Old thinking.
outdated, like old
Thinking.
school, like really outdated way of looking alive. So that's why I call her
Hmm.
old lady brain. I just want to make sure that people know this. I'm not being an ageist.
Yes.
I'm gonna be 40 in a few months. I'm not the one to be calling somebody old. So
No, no. You're so funny. That's my friend. I love her. She's so sweet. I feel like Jennifer did a good job at the reunion, but again, I didn't like the way Rachel Fuda acted. I thought it was strange they asked her why she didn't have a nanny. Did you see Danielle's face when they asked Rachel why she didn't have a nanny?
yeah,
But they didn't ask Danielle that.
yeah, and she doesn't have a nanny either. So
No. I was like, that's weird.
I know. I mean, I have a feeling that the only reason why she was asked that question was because Rachel Fuda had three, no, actually two storylines. They already talked about it. One was the adoption, which it was only talked about for like 2 episodes, and then the other
Right.
one was the ongoing argument with Danielle about how she twisted Arsenal to Margaret.
Yes.
So what else? What else is out there for Andy to ask Rachel about? But some random question about having a nanny or not.
That's a good point. And what about her tagline? Her tagline is like, I'm too busy running my business to worry about yours. But I was like, what's their business? Is it the valet, the tile business, the valet? You know what I mean? Like, I didn't really see her taking part.
Working.
We didn't see the business, really, did we?
That's a good point. I mean, she
I
did. I mean, how was the tagline again? Say it again. The tagline.
Her tagline was like, I'm too busy running a business to like worry about yours. That was it
Well,
was something.
her only business was running her mouth the whole
Oh,
entire season about Danielle and the Arsenal war. That's what happened.
her
That's her
dress was
business.
great. She killed it with her dress at least. She looked good,
You
right?
you think that you think Rachel looked good?
I did. I liked her dress.
Okay, sure.
Stop it. I did. I liked her
Uh,
dress.
That's
She's
fine.
pretty.
No, she no
Danielle
that
on Watch.
no. I mean, you're talking about
Sorry.
Danielle or Rachel.
Well, Danielle went on Watch What Happens Live and she had to say something about all of her castmates. And when it came to Rachel, she was like, she goes, she's strikingly beautiful in person. And
No,
Andy's like,
she's
well, what does
that's
that
supposed to
mean?
mean. Well, I'm going to agree. She is a pretty woman, but
Yeah.
my opinion on that dress is like she looked like she was going to be Belle in a local theater play
Yeah.
with a really
Yes.
low budget for costumes. So that's how I feel like she looked. But that's fine. I mean, it's just like I don't
Ah.
know. She was okay. Everybody looks fine. Fine.
Yeah. Everyone looks fine. Everyone looks fine. Everyone looks great.
Your perspective on Andy talking to Louis before he went on the stage.
Strange. Little strange. I thought that was a little strange. Was he like trying to trigger him before he even like got on the stage? Like,
I don't know. I have a feeling that he was trying to kind of like let him know that it was gonna be rough out there. But it was a little I was confused for a little bit. I was like, is he trying to do it because he likes Louis or because he doesn't want confrontation? But why did he go to Louis but he didn't go to Joe Gorga until Joe Gorga was sitting next to Melissa just to tell him just don't get physical? He didn't say anything else to Joe Gorga based on what we saw on the show. Because we gotta remember too that all this stuff are edited to look in some kind of way. So it
Mm-hmm.
felt like he spent more time with Louis trying to convince him not to get physical. So is he trying to say that Louis is the aggressive one, or what's happening here? Because
I kind of,
if we are watching the same show, I mean, the person who was aggressive 99% of the time in the men's dynamic was Joe Gorga. That's all I'm gonna say. Physical, yeah. Louis was very vocal, especially on the finale. But when they were having dinners and whatever at the beginning, Joe Gorga was sitting. I remember clearly on one side of the table, and as soon as Louis walked into that bar, he said like, "I want to jump across the table. I want to beat his ass. He's a piece of shit. He's blah, blah." And he was acting out like the bitch boy that he is.
I agree with you. I feel like Andy was like kind of trying to like get in Louis's head. That's my opinion. I think he was trying to get in his head before he went on stage.
Yeah.
Mm,
I do remember, K Mama, you just mentioned something here. There was a comment on Instagram that Andy said that he had to talk to Joe on the side. Yes, he was filming a clip on the IG story. I remember that part. So
mm,
that's what we saw on tonight's episode when he's talking to him while he's sitting down or whatever. I was
mm.
expecting him to pull him aside. It's just like such a weird setting of going to Louis when he's by himself and then just talk to Gorga in front of everybody else like it's like no big deal. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. Mhm. I agree with you. It was a little strange for sure. I think he was like trying to mess with his head before he went out there, to be honest. Cuz again, like he doesn't have any experience. This isn't all these other people are experienced. They've been on doing this for a decade. Like he doesn't know what to expect really from a reunion. It's new to
Yeah.
him. He's got to
Yeah.
be nervous.
True, true. Any last thoughts before we go? Because I want to know your opinion on the trailer for next week or what you expect next week to happen.
I don't know what's gonna happen next week. I love that Danielle is like basically she's taking it on the chin, kind of what happened, like not feeling set up, but kind of feeling set up. And if you notice, like Danielle and Jennifer and Teresa have been hanging out. Nate had a birthday party. Teresa had her birthday party. And so I'm like loving her.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. I love Danielle. I
Hmm.
think she brought a much needed new fresh air to the
Yes.
show. Um, I was hoping that Rachel was also going to be like that girl, but I'm kind of like Not and this is not just because she is on the side of Melissa Gorga and Margaret. No, that has nothing to do with that. I'm gonna tell you why. Same thing happened on Beverly Hills, and that's why I'm not a fan of Rachel. When they brought what's her name? The one the neuro lady.
Oh,
The
Jen
one that
Fessler.
no, the one on Beverly Hills, the one the allegedly sold. I mean, bought the
Oh,
trolls. I
Diana
guess.
Jenkins.
There you go. Uh, when Diana Jenkins came on the show, I mean, she's so
That's
irrelevant.
messed up.
Yeah,
I
I
mean, I
just
just
can.
want to say that was like messed up.
When Diana Jenkins came on the show, she came with an agenda. She didn't have time to like actually get to know all the ladies.
Hmm.
She didn't want to get to know anybody. She came on the show thinking that Sutton was this horrible person. That Lisa Reyna fed her that idea before even
Yes.
starting to film. So I did not like that because I want to get to know you before you get in the mix of the drama. That's what happened with Rachel Fuda. Rachel Fuda took a side almost immediately without even skipping a beat. No one. Danielle did the opposite. She wanted to be friends with everybody. She was being nice to Margaret. She was being nice to Melissa. She was being nice to Teresa. She was being nice to Jennifer. But the moment that she felt that the other ones were going hard on her for no goddamn reason, just because Rachel went and became the rat of the group by telling Margaret that allegedly, or not allegedly, that she twisted Danielle's words by saying that she was the one who said that she had an arsenal when Danielle was clear. She said Laura said that Margaret has an arsenal. She was very clear. So in that moment, that's when Danielle changed her attitude and she aligned with Teresa and Jennifer, because I'm not gonna be talking about to some bitch that don't want to talk to me. That's just the normal
Mhm.
thing to do. So
Mhm.
that's why I like Danielle's dynamic on this season versus Rachel, because I do not like a newbie that gets in the mix without kind of like experience the show on her own terms. You know,
Yes.
that's why I
Yes.
do believe the words on the street of Jersey that she was given free tiles to the Gorgas for her to go on the show, because that's the only thing that makes me think like, maybe that's why she was doing the most just to be on their side.
I That's what I think. I think absolutely. I mean, that's definitely what I think for sure.
And
And
yeah, and I just want people to know these are our opinions. These are allegedly situations. We're not saying this for a fact, because I don't want no cease and desist in my mailbox.
I'm like dangerous. I'm a liability these days. I swear. Like I'm not even joking. I hope you don't get it.
So
It's gonna.
Lenzi, this is the time for you to promote your platform or anything that you want to promote on
Uh,
my podcast. It's your time, please.
Oh, thank
It's
you
all
so
yours.
much. You can find me on my YouTube channel, The Housewife Historian, Instagram, HW Historian with the number 2. Same for like TikTok and Twitter. So check out my YouTube channel and follow and like all that stuff.
And like I always tell everybody who listens, please, 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 the best way for you guys to support us is by subscribing, following our platforms. You can find me as Martini with Eddie on Twitter, on Instagram for extra tea, my podcast and YouTube channel as Martini with Eddie too as well. That is Martinez, Marteanis, like a tea. That is hot and boiling. Um, Before I forget, I just released my newest merch line. It's called "You Are a Devil," inspired by no other than Teresa's words to March, and this is what it looks like. It's too bright. You can see it, but
Oh
you
man.
can go check it out on my website martinezwitheddie.com on the Martinez shop section. It's if you want to rock some real halfway of New Jersey merch, you can go get that. And I also have the poo poo head merch that is inspired on Vanderpump Rules. I'm also releasing a new line tomorrow that is I was not your best friend hoe. So keep an eye on that too. Remember, merch on martinezwitheddie.com on the Martinez shop section. So you can rock your Bravo inspired fashion at BravoCon. Thank you guys so much. Please, please, please subscribe to our platforms and leave a rate, 5 stars, a like, because that helps us to keep creating and showing you more tea on our platform. Thank you so much, Lenzi. Thank you for
Thank
being
you.
here. I
Thank
appreciate you,
you.
and we had a great time. We gotta do this again. And
Yes, absolutely.
before we
Sorry.
go, I always end the show with saying bye, besties. So we're gonna do it together, okay? I'm gonna count to 3. We're gonna say bye, besties together, okay?
All right.
1, 2, 3. Bye,
Bye, bestie.
besties.